What's going on, everybody? We've got C's for Greatness gear going on right now. Thank you for joining us on Core Conversations. We have a Freestyle Tuesday, and I want to talk about voices of change. This is the second day in a row that I'm jumping on someone's podcast. Elon, what's going on? I'm jumping off of someone's post and going to talk about one of the words that they said that was really, really impactful. Let me get some housekeeping things out of the way, and then we'll get this going. So, Shape Pilates, what's going on? AK, I see you. Okay. So, this is a Core Conversations podcast. PV Design, what's going on? Podcast. So, like, subscribe, and share. For those of you who are joining us now or going to be watching the replay later, I have two Mediville people in the house. What's going on, Shannon? This is my IG Live that I do every day, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and there's people from all over the world. So if you could just put in the chat where you're from. Light Moose Pilates, what's going on? What city are you guys all in? This thing is like wobbly. Just type out your city in the chat. I'm going to talk about a post that I saw one of my good friends put up, and I want to build some conversation around it, but let's get some more things done here first. One more thing and we'll get this going here. All right. Jersey's in the house. Found Pilates Magazine. Oh, hi, how are you? I can't remember your name. Fit Club Pilates, Lisa. We were on the thing together for... can't remember. Cool. London's in the house. Mediville, Late Moose Pilates. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. You're like half morning this morning, and well, you are more wrong. It's all good. All right. So let's get this going. I echoed this post this morning, and it was called Privilege and the Fitness Industry. Jessica Volant has this post, and she is a physical therapist and a Pilates person who does a lot of online presence, has a subscription-based model. She runs Momentum Fest. She's a fantastic person, just a genuine supporter of the industry and challenges people in many ways, leans into women's health and wellness as well. And my friend Jenna Zaffino is here too. So the reason why I put this up is like yesterday, there was a post that Tasha Edwards put up, and it was so powerful, talking about surrounding yourself with the right people and using the right energy. Jenna, I wish you were here yesterday. Catch a replay after. If you're free to join me on the screen right now, even, that'd be awesome. Give me a thumbs up if you can. Yesterday's conversation was so edifying. I feel like I need to, watch it every single day. Today, I feel like the same thing. Just looking at that post and the way that she crafted her words around saying, "I'm sorry," and around saying, "I see you," and around saying, "It's not lost on me that dot 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 dot." It's a powerful post on how we all need to be seen, heard, and valued, and acknowledging the fact that that has not always happened. And I'm talking within the context of the fitness industry, but that translates to so many other industries. So those who are here in the space who are from different industries, I'm sure it's the same for you too. Any service industry has probably gone through a chapter where others have been othered. So that being said, I really feel like what I'm doing here, people like Jenna Zaffino, people like Misty Lynn Cawthon, like my guy Michael Pierce, who was in yesterday, are doing so much work to lead from the middle. I love that phrase, leading from the middle, but I'm gonna leave that. If I change gears for a quick second.
Hey.
Hello, my friend.
We're driving, but it's a straight shot, and I'm not going to look at you, but I got you in my ear. Is that fair?
That's totally fair.
I just feel like last night I was like, oh, I gotta talk to Martin today. Fired up. So whether it's going to be a phone call or a live.
Oh, we could do both. How are you?
Next question.
Okay.
Yeah? Is that cool? Yeah, it's a day. It's a morning. It's a day. I'm shifting. I have Pilates and Bounce coming up, the first class of our 6-week session. So that will be a savior, mood boosting galore. But yeah, it's been a rough morning. It's been a rough morning and a rough couple weeks.
Man.
Yeah, but you were right about the ice rink, by the way. That's exactly what it is. Thank you for helping my brain out, because I had no idea why there were piles of snow on the sidewalk.
Right.
And it is right next to an ice rink. So you are the smartest today, Martin, and you win.
Thank you. Thank you. I used to work for this my job that my wife laughs at me because I still boycott this specific brand of ice cream, because I was working for Franklin's Frozen Foods when I was 14, and they made us stock the walk-in freezers. So we'd be like minus 100, and we'd have this like thin winter coat, and we'd have to hand bomb ice cream into this freezer. And I swore I'm never eating this kind of ice cream again. I'm not gonna mention the brand, but like I was so bitter. To this day, I still don't buy that brand of ice cream because they forced me to like stockpile it for my job. But at the same time, we used to have to bang the freezers, and we'd have all these freezers that have all this frost that built up. So all the guys at the hardware store across the parking lot would be there, and we'd be like throwing snowballs at them in July, and they'd be like, "What?" It was the best ever. Like, it was so funny.
I'm reading this book about like surviving the 4 seasons from a mental health perspective. More to come. Content consumers.
Yes.
But it was like, that was one of the, it throws your DNA off. You're like, snow in the heat? How does this happen? Unless you live in California, I guess, but.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're talking about the messy middle? Is that right?
No, actually, not necessarily the messy middle. It's something that a lot of us that watch this show do, is lead from the middle.
Yeah.
You're not waiting until you have a massive platform and your 6th book deal to talk about stuff and to influence and to speak strongly against things and for things.
Yeah.
You do it all day long. I'm echoing people who are doing it all day long. I take this platform to do it, and people still are here and joining the conversation like yesterday, and doing that. And I think that that's so powerful that we do that. And Jessica's post was about privilege, about recognizing the privilege of being a white, skinny, fit girl in a fitness industry that lends to white, skinny, fit girls.
Right.
And I love the fact that she opened with this line, and everyone who uses this line always has my ear.
it's not lost on me that dot,
Mm-hmm.
dot, 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 dot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I like that because it's just saying, it's just, okay, let's start with the fact that this didn't just fly over my head. I see what's happening and I may not be able to do it, but at least I see it, acknowledge it, and here's my apology, here's my effort, here's my repentance, here's my whatever, to say I'm going to do my little corner of the world piece towards that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think there is a interesting intersection right now between making a statement to that effect, living your life to that effect,
Mm-hmm.
and, the motivations behind each. And
Yes.
I think that when you have any sort of platform, it's important that people know where you stand on the issues. And sometimes they just don't, sometimes they just don't. They look at the color of your skin or the background or what their perception of where you are and how you got there is, and they make a judgment call. And there's really not a whole lot that one can do about that.
Yes.
But yesterday I reshared a post that said, I'm proud of the things I do offline. All right. Sorry. I'm proud of the things I don't post on social media.
Yes.
And I think that, like you said, leading from the middle, I feel like, I've been working since 2019 to lead from the island or lead into the vacuum, and hope that whoever needs to hear what I have to say is listening or available or finds it at the right time. Because I find that the pull towards performative activism, statements, support, and all of it is so great in this highly agitated cancel culture that there is often a missing piece surrounding someone's perception of you and what you actually do within your life, as well as the fact of how you remedy mistakes that you've made or how you're rolling with really tough situations in the moment. It's there is this bit that I'm rolling with right now, which is regularly I get to interface with very challenging situations surrounding the subjects just commonly known at this moment as equity and diversity, but they're often more nuanced than that.
Okay.
Essentially the underlying themes are, how do I contribute to helping to foster, and in some cases lead, communities where if harm is caused, as it inevitably will be in some way, shape, or form, that we have a structure or a strategy in place to start repairing the rupture of trust and of pain and of wounds. And so,
a standardized structure to repair it, or just
let's say resources, because there is no standard, harm doesn't happen in an equation. So it comes down to the point of, like, how are we being mindful about setting up these communities in ways that leave the space for people to be themselves, share their stories, and also be mindful of others' experiences within the group and how that affects their well-being and their stories. And it's hard. And I was
sure
on the phone the other day with tears in my eyes going, like, I understand that this is a call to leadership that I don't think many people will ever get to see. They'll probably see the results of, which hopefully end up being like a thriving community where, people feel good about being there and they feel safe and they feel welcomed and they feel, supported in the event that they need somebody to advocate for them. But this stuff is hard because it isn't a post. It isn't it would be nice if it were a post. It would be really easy, like that. And I want to be clear that I think I support Jessica in saying all of that, and I'm just kind of adding and posting because I think the visibility is really important. But I think just speaking from like a behind the scenes perspective, like, God, it's messy, and there's a choice to get into it. And sometimes the choice is to not get into certain situations or certain issues where you don't feel like structures are clear. Yes. And you don't feel like there is a focus on repairing the rupture, and you're not clear about your role within the whole situation. So I know I'm being a little vague, but
no, it's true. But it's like, yeah,
I have arrived.
Talk amongst yourselves. No, right. That's I think that's it though. I mean, like there's so many pieces to that, and the reason why I chose to echo Tasha's post yesterday and to echo Jessica's post today, and then pull a picture from Ivy, Requisite Pilates, who just joined us in the room too. Things that they're doing is because before they made a post to address it, they were living it out.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the piece, that there's an integrity that comes with it that I always look, I said this years ago, people put that black tile, that black screen up, I looked at 10 posts before your black screen and 10 posts after to get a real snapshot of who you are.
Yeah. I think too, I did a poll on Instagram a couple of weeks ago, and the biggest result in terms of people allocating whether the statement felt true to them was I am afraid to post on social media, and it was through the roof, right? So people are in our community, in the people who watch my stuff, who are in the community, they're afraid to post. And I think that it largely has to do with not having the space to make a mistake or to do it imperfectly. I think that just like one of the limiting beliefs in teaching is that there's that good old train, everybody take a breath.
Yes.
We have this paradigm in teaching that says I got to know everything before I put it out there. I'm not an expert until fill in the blanks. I need to be called forward by so-and-so, all of these things. And so we feel like we have to run a gauntlet before we have the space to say something. And sometimes in terms of the resources that you have behind the scenes, that's true. Like if you come to the table and you're ready to make statements that are bold and in some cases controversial, if you're not resourced to do that, then you're putting yourself in peril, because social media is unforgivable. It's a rough world out here.
So true.
But if you are resourced and you can come to the table honestly, like wanting to speak your piece, which is what it sounds like these posts are doing, like wanting to contribute to the bigger conversation, and you have the resources because you've gone through some of the work in your own life, or you're living it in real time, and you're committed to it, then you almost afford yourself the space to make mistakes or to do it imperfectly.
Yes.
And there's I don't know. There's an interesting thing, because I find that in person, I just have a very different experience with folks in person than I do online in terms of their judgment right. of who they think I am.
Right.
So, that's
say no more. that could be an elementary school conversation on cyberbullying and a whole separate tangent altogether right there.
I mean, yeah. It's not even bullying. It's just like people throw you in a tight little container that they think that you belong to, and they decide who you are and what you're going to do, and they don't do any investigating about it. So people sometimes are like, I can't believe you saw that, or I can't believe you mentioned that, or like I had a former coaching client reach out to me today, and I have yet to post this back, but she commented on something that I commented on, and I'm like, gosh, I don't know what's happened since she made this big life and career change. I'm really interested in it because I think about them, and I do try to find out about people, because why else am I working with people if I don't care about them?
Right.
It certainly isn't for the money, I'll tell you that much. It's not, I'm rolling up in a Jeep Liberty 2006, baby, with a little, probably a little, hopefully Josh isn't watching this. There's a little sound in the wheel well. I just want to say that. But Yeah, there is it's an interesting thing. And what's more is that, like, you saw that post about this DO with you know, blah blah blah. So I saw a lot of people posting like, my Pilates is resistance training, this Pilates is that, this Pilates, you have it wrong because Pilates, and everybody's focusing on Pilates and Pilates and Pilates. And I will go back to, probably, I think it's a meme that I posted years ago. It's like, Pilates is nothing without the humans who animate it. It's not about the post is not about the Pilates, turns out. It's irritating. It pissed me off too. It's about what that sort of judgment and vilification of an exercise form does to someone who, for them, Pilates is their lifeline right now. So how many times have you gone down, like, maybe keto is working for you and you're finally getting your energy back, or you see your blood work leveling off. Notice how I'm mentioning those things and not the other things that we always focus on. We see our health markers from a medical point of view getting to a place that says, hey, longevity might be yours, or satisfaction on the daily basis might be yours. So great, then do your keto, and then someone says keto will kill you because it's not, it's counting macro, it's Noom is a diet, all this stuff. It's like, what's up with the comparative marketing? Like, in my mind, if you have to compare yourself or like undercut another thing without comma dot dot dot, without talking about the ramifications of the humans who are enjoying and engaging them. And you are a person who works in service, then I'm going to ask you to go back and just check yourself, and why are you here? Because nothing my clients bring to the table is wrong. Not one thing. It is all right.
I always say
that gives us something to work with.
Yes. The line I always say in here is, that counts. That counts. You know what I mean? Like, whatever they come, it's like, yeah, that counts. Yeah, that matters. Yeah, that counts. And it's like, let's build from there.
Yeah, there's times where people are like, you know, I'm trying this new thing. And it's like, well, what do you like about it? How does it make you feel? Because that's the place of, it's not the program. It's not the Pilates. It's the confidence. It's the ability. It's the salience. It's seeing yourself in it. It's the ability to interface it with the rest of your life. It's something that intrigues you, that gets your brain sparkling, that you go outside and you're like, oh my God, walking heel toe works on the outside too. Mind blown. This is great. It's the boring stuff that keeps our life a little prickly on the outside so that we're paying attention. It's not head down, join the cult. Which, by the way, we're doing an interview with a cult interventionist tomorrow in my community, and I can't wait.
Cult interventionist.
It is a thing. She is a person who helps people essentially rehabilitate from cultish organizations as well as actual cults. We're going to talk about coercive control. We're going to talk about groupthink. We're going to talk about all these things. I'll send you the invite. I think you would, if you're free. I would love to have you there.
Yeah. Can you type in the chat how someone can join your community to be a part of things like you just said?
Yep. It is the community is a closed community because it's off social media, and we have some rules for this temporary world that we are creating. And the reason why, if any of you have
sorry, I was like, ooh, I know some people in our industry who need that. Yes.
So this is the page with all of the
look straight ahead. Just look straight ahead.
Come here, Flashy. Come here, Flashy.
He's a happy guy.
Yeah. Are you happy? He's a bit of a jerk today, so that's all right. We'll figure it out.
You just uppercut your dog? Is that what just happened?
He literally is unbothered by anything. He's covered in blood, not because he's bleeding. Another dog was bleeding. So that's what the next part of my morning is going to look like.
Right.
Keeping it real, Martin. But the community is the page that I put is the information, and there is an application process. And the reason why is that I want to make sure it's a good fit, because we're not doing a click. You're not blessed to be there. I want to make sure that what we are offering is what can help you. And again, like there are rules, and if anybody is hosting any sort of group connection, read The Art of Gathering by Priya Parker. It is genius. There's a TED Talk, and it talks about how to set up successful events so that they're focused on the, progression of the group and the focus of the group at hand. And that's why I chose to pull my bigger resources into the community space so that I could have a more consistent experience with the folks that want to learn and grow together. So it's a lot. We have an expert interview once a month. We do our finances at the end of the month. We set our monthly intentions. We have movement. We have subject. We just went over, like, this past month's subject was, okay, I filmed 3,000 videos during the pandemic. What do I do with them? And we talked about options for those things and moving forward. So
love that. You're getting a ton of hearts in the screen. I think people want to be like you when they grow up. So if they can find out more about your community and coaching and concepts, because I'm talking about voice of change, right? So I mean, everyone has a way of having their voice out there and affecting change. And someone feels like they can just do it on Facebook. And Jessica, if she's still in the room, she has a wonderful YouTube. And I'm doing this every day. Like, everyone has a way of doing their thing. So if someone's thing resonates with your thing, I strongly suggest people that you follow Jenna, jump on this group, and learn how you can craft your own voice.
Yeah, I will say that, this is not a secret for people who listen to Unfiltered, whichever version. I really tried to lead from the front. There wasn't a lot of space there. There's a lot of arms linked in certain ways that won't let, don't create the space for a lot of new ideas. And I'm an ideas person, and I'm also a person who understands that a lot of our answers that we're looking for in terms of growth and support, they fall outside of the realms of the boundaries of the Pilates community. And that's awesome, because when you start to step outside of your circle of influence, you can actually gain some really good insight and support systems. So that is where I'm at. And you are invited to check it out and ask questions and all the things. So
amazing.
Cool. I'm going to go bounce. Literally bounce. This actually helped me a ton. So it's always great to see your face. And everybody should know that I'm an excellent driver. So
yes.
Yeah.
Too funny.
Let's
talk.
Chat later. Yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
Right. Love you.
Thank you, my friend. All right. Take care.
Bye.
How's it going, everybody? Thanks to everyone who just jumped into the chat. Ivy, Breakfast at Pilates. If you want to join me on screen, you're more than welcome to. Jessica, I don't know if you're still here too. I'm just looking. Yes, if you'd like to join, I'd love to have you two jump in here. Before you two do, this is some of the stuff I put up this morning. So I put up this because I think Jessica just did a fantastic job with this post. And I put up this, which is all the comments and stuff like that, including my friend Marimba, who said, thank you for being a voice of change. And so I want to give credit to where credit is due to everybody who's doing great work. And this is Ivy just like throwing down, validating everyone's experience in their body. So the reason why I put all these posts up there, all these public domain posts from all these wonderful, amazing people, is because you're all just awesome. And I think that you are all leading from the middle, leading from the front, wherever you're leading. You are absolutely all leaders. We had leaders yesterday, we have leaders today in talking different spaces. One of the things that Jenna just said a second ago that I wrote down, but I didn't want to unpack it because it would take us on a whole separate tangent, was creating space to do it imperfectly. Creating space to do it imperfectly. And what does that even mean? I'd love to hear from you in the chat what that means. I'm going to bring Jessica on right now, and we'll just go where this goes. There is. Hi, my friend.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Trying to hold on. Oh. plugging in 10 different things. Hi. Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Kids are off to school, got a quiet house?
Yes, and I have Zoom in just a few minutes, so this is perfect. I'm all ready to go. Got my coffee.
Nice.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm great.
Good.
Yeah, yesterday's chat was really good. I loved your post today.
Thank you.
That actually, sorry, that wasn't even today's post, was it? Was it yesterday?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's right.
So it wasn't even yesterday's. That post that you shared was from like a year ago.
Okay, awesome.
But it's there because it's pinned to the top of my profile. I want it to be I want it to be one of the first things people see when they come to the profile. So that's why it's there.
It's good. I think I have a post about something that happened in my community that I put up like 2 months ago, which I was going to recycle. And Jenna was saying about us being afraid to post things sometimes. I'm still like measuring off if if I need to like look at my words, revisit those words, clarify something, expand on it, like all those different things. But like just before you came on, I was just saying like creating space to do things imperfectly.
Yeah. I agree. I think I mean really since June, since we're talking about this specifically, since June of 2020, when people started posting the black squares and all of that, I think a lot of people, and I'll just say me, I mean, this is my journey, I can't say anyone else's, but definitely that fear of, oh, I'm going to say something wrong. I'm going to say something wrong. I'm going to say something inappropriate. I'm not going to use the right words. And what I just discovered about myself is that it was much more important to me for people to feel like it was a safe place for them. So any person who had ever felt marginalized, any group that had ever felt marginalized, it was more important to me that they felt safe. That was more important than the idea that I might be offending someone who had thousands of other safe places to be. I just realized, you know what, if you feel offended by what I'm saying and you have so many safe places in the fitness world that you can go, then by all means, please find that place. Like, it's okay to me if I'm going to offend you. It's not okay if I'm offending someone in one of those marginalized groups in a place that they don't feel safe many places. Those are the voices I would listen to. So Marimba, Michelle Sims, Nikki Peterson, you, Danica, there are so many voices that I was listening to who were very kind to me. Jessica Van was my personal coach. And so those were people who helped me with certain words. I'm like, oh, I didn't say that right. Oh, I didn't, and I don't know if there's always a right or wrong as much as constantly learning. And for me, it's not being afraid to apologize. That's what that post kind of was about too, is, you know what, I've done this wrong before. I continue to do this wrong. And yeah, I guess that's it. And the reason I did post it up to pin it is just that same idea. In social media, things get lost. They're so fast.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
They get lost so quickly. And hopefully people see, I have a highlight, I have an anti-racism page on my website, but that too gets lost. Whereas social media, a quick thing. So again, for me, it was just, I wanted it to be clear for certain groups that I try my best to create a safe space for them. So I wanted that to be like a big welcome sign on the door saying, you know what, I screw up sometimes. I'm sorry. This is my problem with the fitness industry, and I'll do my best to voice that and have our business have a mission of this. So that's my long story about that. But I think it's a constant journey and asking yourself and just listening. Like I try to listen to the voices that really have something to teach me in this space. And honestly, some of it is watching people do it. I don't want to say wrong because we're talking about right or wrong, but I mean, a big part of it was watching some of our industry groups do things that I'm like, oh, that's not safe. That's not safe. That's not safe or brave right there. So I'm going to steer away from that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I think, we're talking, Tasha wasn't in the chat yesterday, but we're talking about surrounding yourself with people that cause you to level up by their very presence. And we're like
Yes.
that kind of conversation. And I think that's so true because like, yes, we can do our best and we can say sorry and we can make those efforts, or we can always continually surround ourselves with people that are going to keep us, keep those checks and balances and call us into a place of reflection when we do and say the wrong thing. How humble we are at those moments. So I'm more inclined to look at who you're surrounding yourself with than what you're saying even.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what I
I
mean?
completely agree. Oh yeah.
So,
And I think knowing who you're trying to talk to also, like realizing, okay, my voice, it helps me to always just realize, who am I talking to? And honestly, for the most part, I'm not talking to other teachers or other instructors or other industry groups. That's not who my demographic is. It's, the people at home who can't get to any other studio because they don't have the economic means, or they aren't in a place that even has a Pilates studio, or they aren't in a place that has even physical therapy for thousands of miles. I mean, that's who I'm talking to. So making sure that they hear my voice and I say it in a way that they, again, feel safe. I guess that's for me what it always comes back to. So remembering who you are talking to and what your end goal is with it. Is it just lip service? Is it just to check a box? Or is it, A, B, C? What is it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So when we do those things, it's, who's it? Nikki? I can't remember who it was, but they had a great line where they said they're cashing in on their privilege.
Wow.
They're cashing in on their privilege. So a white woman who is skinny and blonde hair and checks all these boxes in terms of social media acceptance. And then you say, no, look over here. No, look wider. No, look over here. No, look. That's when we cash in on those privileges. It's not just you doing that, it's me doing that as a man. It's someone else. I mean, from wherever you are, you can do that. Cash in on the privilege that you have and broaden the conversation.
Exactly. Use the privilege you're given, because I was given a lot. I've been given a lot of privilege, and recognizing that, and using it in whatever way I can. And sometimes it's online, and like Jenna was saying, we all talk about, and Jess Van really helped me internalize this, is what are you doing offline? Like, what are you doing with what do your neighbors look like, Jessica? What do the kids look like that your kids are playing with? So yeah, it's great to get some likes on social media, but really, if you're trying to use your privilege and you're trying to listen and make a change, put your phone down and look at your life and look at your community and what you're doing. And that has stuck with me greatly, and something I have to just personally on my own take stock of every single day.
Every single day. I was going to say, this is something we live out. Like, it's not just a post and a repost. It's like, we're living this out every day. So I loved all that stuff. I know you got to jump off soon, but I just want to say thank you, because these are all powerful things. And I think that we need to keep keeping it in front of people. Yeah. Like, it just, social media moves so fast, and like, I'm forever just bringing stuff right back up again. And just, let's recycle this content, because we really, none of us need to put up any new content at all, right?
Oh my gosh, so true. When I was looking for this post to repin, I'm like, I wrote that other thing 2 years ago, and that was good. I wrote that. I need to. It's true. You can just keep using it, and like you said, I think you said this at the beginning. You will realize you want to reword things. You will realize that I'm different than I was 2 years ago. I'm different. We all are. Oh my gosh, the world is flipped on its head. So and that's okay too. I think it's okay for you to change your voice. It is okay to say you're sorry. It is okay to say I was wrong. I think all of that's okay. And on social media, especially, me personally, I look for companies that do that. Like, that's what I look for. And I feel safer in those spaces than I do in the ones that have never mentioned a single thing that they think is controversial, you know. I'm like, if you can't speak about that, I don't think you're a company that I really want to support all that much.
For sure.
Yeah.
One last thing on this, and this is something that I think doesn't get said enough, is we always speak about advocating for these groups that have been othered. But I also want to say that for all those out there that have been othered and then turn around and take that as an advantage to feel that they're entitled to be mean to somebody else, to be mean to other people who are oppressing them or to organizations, stuff like that. I don't feel like there's a space for that at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that there's something about still being kind, or like, you don't have to like befriend them, but you don't have to also like sick your bulldogs on them. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many examples of people who have been oppressed worse than you that still chose to handle it in a different way. And I think that meanness, there's no space for meanness, period.
And I think, and that's hard for me to comment on, again, being such a privileged person. I will say, I think that's a really broad, it's almost a broader thought of what are we doing on social media that does allow any of us just to feel so mean, you know, like it goes back to almost what Jenna was saying about being in person with someone.
Right.
That's what I feel like. I long for the in person because of that real connection.
Yes.
And I do, I mean, I sense it with kids. Like I said, my daughter's getting into texting. Like I sense this, people say things online that they wouldn't say in person. So how do we just make these conversations more conversations, I guess. I don't know. I don't have any answers about that whatsoever. But honestly, I will say the more I can take some of them in person and even do this one-on-one with you, you know, sure. And maybe that's why I love Momentum Fest so much. The idea of just being in person, it does take all of it to another level.
It does.
And that's what's most powerful, I think.
It's a good level, like it's a different level of intentionality. Like if a person says something and engages you to pick a fight and you invite them for a coffee and then they back off, it's like, okay, well, you honestly weren't committed to my change or to bettering the conversation. You're committed to just picking a fight. Thank you and goodbye, right?
Right. Yeah, totally. And I think that goes, for anything online, definitely. Because if someone did that to us in person, again, if someone did that to one of my kids, I'd be like, you know what, that's not worth engaging in, honey. You know, we can walk away. Let's discuss what happened. They were right in this aspect. They were wrong in this aspect. Same for you. Let's learn. But somehow it happens online and we're like, cancel, block, boom, or la, 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 la. Like,
right.
Whoa, where?
97 comments later. Right.
Right. Yeah. That's not how it works in real life, really. I can't just block and walk away from you. I mean, I could, but I don't think that's gonna solve anything. It would just be weird. Oh my God.
So we digress. But thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks
for having me.
Yeah, no worries. As always. Real quick, just shoot out in your comment section if you want to just put your YouTube page or anything so people can follow and just like see all the awesome stuff you're doing. You can do it if you jump off.
Jessica Valant Pilates everywhere. You can find me anywhere, Jessica Valant Pilates. I'll see you.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Happy Tuesday.
Thank you. Take care, my love.
Bye.
Yeah. Yes. That's some good stuff. Denver's in the house. Hi, Kip Pilates. Just missed her. It's all good. Well, it's interesting. I actually didn't realize that was an older post that she had recycled, but that also speaks volumes to what we're doing here and that these messages are not dead. Like they need to continue to be alive because the speed of the internet, we want it to drop off, but yeah, no, they're still relevant. Ivy, are you around? I don't know if you give me a thumbs up if you want to join me. I just feel like I just want to just echo the voices of people doing great work today. And we have an amazing guest tomorrow joining us with Misty and I. Latoya McAlpin's joining us. She was on a while ago and she was just like, honestly, she reminded me of my little sister. Like it just, the interaction is just jokes and her passion for the work and where she's been. Great stories, great work. So I'm looking forward to that chat tomorrow. but valuing people's experiences, that's kind of the other level to what we're talking about today. Privilege, authority, leading from the middle, holding space for people. All those things are such good things. And I feel like for our audience, hearing those messages once again, I hope it takes you into your first session after these conversations with a sense of intentionality and growing what you're doing. Yeah, let's get you on here.
I just appeared.
Liz just appeared. Oh, my friend, how are you?
I'm good. Were you talking about that mind body green post? Is that what everybody was
I think so.
talking
Yeah.
about? Okay.
No. No, I was talking about, there's a post that Jessica had about cashing in, about your, I had to, wait, I have it right here. One moment, please. It's about privilege, and there's an old post now that I know about how we have these privileges and what do we do with them and how do we leverage them to hold space for other people and all that kind of warm, fuzzy stuff. So it was good. Privilege and the fitness industry. And she goes on to talk about being a white, thin woman, which gives you an extreme amount of privilege in the fitness space, but it's not lost on her that it's easy to find clothes or that fitness classes speak to you or that you have opportunities in terms of health, presentations, all those different things, that your size, your appearance, your race, your gender identification, your sexual orientation, your age, all those things can be things that ultimately other us. And what do you do with that? Right. So she goes on, and it's fantastic because I think it once again brings back to the forefront the things that we kind of have forgotten about simply because we're so far away from a George Floyd type event now. We want to just like settle in. And it's like, no. Let's look back over here again. Let's revisit these things again, right? So I liked that, and I wanted to put it up. And I'm glad that you guys are all joining me.
I love that. Because it's such an important conversation. I mean, I can speak about my own experience that I sort of compartmentalized my social justice piece and background. I usually don't like blah, blah, blah about my education, but my major way back in the day was in, at the time it was Afro-American studies. And that tells you how long ago it was. They don't call it that anymore. But it wasn't until the last couple of years that I was like, that I recognized that
there's an intersection.
That there's an intersection, of course.
Yes.
And it seems like such an obvious, but for some reason I like bypassed it. And there's another, instance of privilege. And then when I started to see, I couldn't, like Black Girl Pilates, and I started to hear, and I was like, oh, I need to really start to deeply investigate what my part, even though I'm not, in a typical body of privilege. I'm still a white woman, even though I'm Jewish, still a white woman, still have that privilege. And I think that's when I started to speak out more and more on social media consistently on that very issue, because we need to shine a light. We need to keep shining a light on ourselves.
Keep shining a light. Yes.
And
exactly.
on the industry. Yeah.
Yes. I love the phrase that Jen said about creating space to do it imperfectly. Now, I'm just throwing that out to you. What does that sound like to you when I say create space to do it imperfectly?
Sounds like white fragility, honestly.
Really?
Because, well, yeah. That's where the defensiveness comes in. We're conditioned as white women to be defensive and not introspective. And so I think, not that she's coming from, she's naming it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she's naming it, but that even like that we have to say, okay, I have permission to be imperfect. Of course we have permission to be imperfect, but it's really hard to look at yourself to see then the ways that you use your privilege and leverage your privilege, right? And like, it's a harsh reality to have to look at.
Yes.
And so I think that
interesting. It's so funny that you say it like that. That took me aback because my head was not there with that. And everything you said is like, yeah, that's true. Because I no, with me going into politics, running for a campaign, city council, everything that I put out there, there's people that don't like me because I'm against the person they're running for. So everything that I say is wrong until proven right.
Right.
Everything I say has, if there's a shadow of space for them to pounce on something, they'll pounce. So that same white fragility perspective of defense, I have to put stuff out there and make sure that people see that it's coming from a good place, that this is my intent, this is the background, whatever it is. That can be paralyzing. You can do nothing because you're so afraid to do anything. Or you could put yourself out there from a pure-hearted place, take some lumps to know that you're still the same person.
Right.
What do you do?
Right, exactly. And I think when you are a person that has grown up with a certain awareness of intersections, right? And not necessarily, well, I mean, I'll just,
any intersections,
yeah, call it what it is, right?
Sure.
In a versus a person of privilege, like there is, you have to know how to code switch. You have to know how, when you're going to put out information, knowing that there's a white audience who you want to hear, you have to speak in a very specific way, different than you're going to speak to your family and friends. That is a reality, right? Totally great reality. Absolutely. We all do that to a certain extent, right? Somebody comes into my Pilates studio and they're from Texas, where I am. I engage with them in a different way than if they're from the East Coast, where I'm from, right? And so I think as a person of color, there's a practice of that. For us, there's not. And we're like,
for
I
sure.
Can't possibly. Yeah.
Right. The way that I see it is like knowing how to maneuver. Knowing how to maneuver in every space. Read it quick. This is how it needs to look, all these different things. And it's not apologizing for where I am, it's just knowing how to maneuver in each space, how to navigate each space.
Right. Yeah. And exhausting. That sounds exhausting. Right?
Yeah. It's funny. I was going to say, I'm in pretty good shape. You know what I mean? Like, I have lots of practice. You got lots of reps doing that, right? Live in the skin, you get lots of reps.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Interesting. Your post about living experience. What was the phrase? I can't even.
I think the one that you just shared, I think, was on
valuing people's experience.
Yeah, not denying people's experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
And it happens, I am recognizing as I'm getting older and, all of these, I see it so much more clearly when I walk into, say, a medical facility and I'm met with, whoa, well, you're getting older, that like placation or that like, no, this is the experience in my body currently. I need you to hear me and not deny it because of whatever box I check. And I think it's the same thing in our fitness spaces where somebody comes in and they're like, my knee hurts, for instance. And, we're not going to say, well, you could push through that. Well, you're getting older, knees start to hurt. No, we address, right? The whole person.
The whole person.
Yeah.
Craziness.
It is craziness.
Erica Quest just joined us. Hi. Hip Healthy Chick. Tasha is just saying so many levels to that. And yes, lots of reps.
Tasha.
Yeah.
Hi, Michelle. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good core conversation. Just yeah.
Right? Just yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the phrase? Selah. Just like pause and reflect. Just leave it out there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
All of that. Aren't you glad you brought me on? Just
I know. I am honestly. It's such a diverse conversation since yesterday. Like yesterday, Pierce and I were like, "Yeah, surround yourself. Get this. Take a tackle of the week." And now we're like, "But how?"
right.
Are you doing it in an inclusive way? Are you welcoming people? Are you validating the people who walk into you? I mean, there's like it's all good stuff. I think all of it is just living life on purpose, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that is one of those massive takeaways for anyone who jumps in at any point in any one of these conversations. Like live it on purpose. Don't just like let life happen to you.
Right. And be willing to pivot when you realize that your purpose might be not what you thought it was. I think that's
Right.
that's big. I mean, we're all growing, evolving humans. Period.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, I heard a little of what you and Jenna were talking about, but also social media is permanent, right? So it's like you put these things out there, and then something shifts for you. You also have to be willing to say, I said this before.
Yes.
And now I'm here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the journey. And I was in this talk on Friday, and they were saying they're teaching kids about the internet, young kids. And the line that the police are using in talking about internet safety is nothing is private and everything is public?
Toxic. No.
Toxic. I know. I can't remember. There's a way that they said it, but it's like yes and yes. I mean, you think something and permanent. Nothing is private and everything is permanent. That's it. Nothing is private. Everything is permanent. So you put up for a second, delete it. It's still out there. Someone could have screenshot it. So it's going to come back and bite you. How do you like pivot with it? How do you own these things? How do you continue the conversation and the language and all these things? So, I mean, I think for all of us that are brave enough to be out here, kudos to you, right? So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, we're at 59, and I think I'm gonna get kicked off at any point. But I really do appreciate all of your posts and all the stuff that you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate you and having these conversations because that's my jam. I love conversations. I wish I could be here every morning.
You're always welcome to join me.
Thank you.
Yeah, the times I have no content, I'm like, Ivy, please
join
me.
Help me.
Yes.
All right.
Awesome. All right. Thank you
day.
so much.
Yeah. Bye.
All right, party people. It is 11 o'clock. I think I have 1 minute before it jumps off. So tomorrow, Misty Lynn Cawthon is back as my co-host. Thank you to everyone who joined me. I had so many amazing people flowing through the chat. Pilates Lab Buffalo, what's going on? Audrey Ann, Tammy, Renee. So good. Thank you all for joining me today, and we out.